Welcome to Civic Duty. I'm your host, H-Rap Pharaoh. Decided to change that. I kind of like that. H-Rap Pharaoh, like pharaohs of old. I want to change. I want to change your name up some. I want to call you our internal correspondent. My uncle to the right of me here. What's up, Unc? How you doing?
I feel good today. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Long weekend. Listen, this is live, so this is what it is. It just took some time to myself view a meeting concerning the budget, Delaware's budget. Is it?
It's Wilmington City budget.
Wilmington City budget, and I mean, again, our taxpayer, resident of Wilmington, we can do this. You people can go do the same thing that I just did, and I found it very interesting. I don't want to leave out my baby, as always. What's up, Op?
What's going on, man?
What's good, baby?
Chilling. That was interesting. We got a lot to unpack.
It's a lot of information. I'm kind of speechless almost. I don't know what to say. It was so much information, but thank goodness, to the right of us, he's there on the floor. He was there on the floor. I cannot wait to get his perspective and viewpoints here. Definitely as we start this. So you ready, Unc? We ready, Op?
Yeah, first off, I want to know what was the vibe in the room.
Yeah, what was it like?
What was the temperature in there?
Yeah.
Well, here lately, whenever the city council meets, the temperature has always been Hanifa's in charge.
Okay.
And I have to say that because the problem is Hanifa's in charge. We have someone that's a questionable ethics being in charge. And she's not alone, don't get me wrong. Bud Friel is really in charge.
Being kind of new to this, how long has Bud Friel been in city office?
Well, he's been a city council member for 40 years.
Oh, he's been there a long time.
I tell you what, 1979, the first year that he was elected. And
I was born in 75.
I was born in 75. Yeah.
All right, well, you were 4 years old when Bud Friel was elected.
Okay.
40 years ago.
Okay.
1979. That's the same year Theo Gregory got caught taking the money. and it's funny I say that, but Theo Gregory got caught taking the money. He was he was chairman of the finance committee for the city of Wilmington.
Right.
That's a position Bud Friel has held for the last 8 years.
Okay.
He's chairman of the finance committee.
Okay.
And he's also one of the leading Democrats in the city of Wilmington. I say that for a reason, because we have a clip. We got a lot of information today, and we have a clip that we all want you to look at. And it's concerning, well, you'll see it, and we'll give a little comment on it.
Yeah, here it is for you to see. If you haven't seen it, again, this information is there for public view. I mean, it's there.
WITN.
Yeah, shout out to Channel 22.
Yes.
And people should just go to
just go to the city council meetings. Yeah.
Like we can't.
Yeah.
I won't get into it, but we'll just watch the clip.
Yeah. Let's just check it out.
Yeah. So
we need to just see this.
This is the first clip.
It's not us. Just watch it for yourself.
Watch it for yourself.
And here, listen to what they say. And who's saying it?
Legislation to present on your behalf, Madam President. Thank you.
Resolution 19-015, Agenda 4655, whereas 2018 has shown an unprecedented number of female candidates running for office as compared to previous years, and whereas the Federal Election Commission ruled in May of 2018 that federal candidates can utilize campaign funds to pay for child care costs that results from time spent campaigning. And whereas while many states have recently begun to adopt legislative provisions that permit the use of campaign funds for child care, Delaware does not currently have such provisions.
I move this resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea or nay vote.
Second. It's been properly moved and second. Resolution be received, recorded, and filed and adopted by a yea or nay vote on the question.
I do.
Councilwoman Walsh.
I just have to say, I don't think there's anybody on this floor who can deny the fact that I push very hard for female candidates in this town. And, but I'm sorry, this is one resolution I can't support. I think there's a very gray area right now with campaign funds. I think lots of candidates misuse what those funds are meant to be. And I just see it as being a slippery slope. So, I know it's difficult. I went through it myself about having to find babysitters and that sort of thing. But I think once you commit yourself to run for public office, you have to jump all the way in. And if that means, your whole family has to back you up, so be it. But you don't jump in and then say, well, oops, I want the government to do this, or I want this account to do that. So I'm sorry, but I have to decline voting yes on this tonight.
Councilmember Adams.
Should we pause this right here?
We can
Yeah.
do that right now.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So there was legislation that was that they presented on the floor
Yes.
to use. Let me get this right. So to use campaign funds to help with babysitting for
Childcare.
for childcare for a potential woman that's running for office.
And childcare could be karate, daycare, anything.
Well, I know this here.
Okay.
The handling of campaign funds has always been a sticky subject.
Yeah.
And why would anyone want to mess with campaign funds? Now, a little further in the clip, we don't have time to show it all. But it goes on to speak about who vote. They vote, and it's voted down, of course. And everyone there knows it's about campaign funds, and that's a very gray area in politics.
Yeah.
But I have to state that Bud Friel, the man who's head of the Democratic Party almost, chairman of the Finance Committee, I voted along with the president, Hanifa, and Miss Linda Gray, to almost make it legal to commit campaign fraud. It's that close of a thing.
Oh.
And I'm saying this for a reason, because these people here are involved in a bunch of stuff that's borderlining legal or illegal in the city of Wilmington. And from there, we got some more clips. If you don't have anything to say,
well, the underlying thing here to be understood is that City Council passed the budget.
Right, that's right.
All right. The most important thing is that in the city of Wilmington, for taxpayers and residents in the city of Wilmington, the budget's been passed.
But what is it called? The capital budget or capital gains?
Capital gains budget or something?
There's a capital budget, and then there's capital projects within the budget.
Okay.
And what happened this time was Bud Friel, for the first time in the history of the reading of the budget, to my knowledge, and to some other people's knowledge, he read both of them at the same time. And in legislation, Sam Guy addresses the issue to no avail, but he read both of them at the same time. And then it goes on to speak about the budget. Within this budget, there's that same $3.4 million that Puccini, the WHP, is involved in.
And to just to clear it up for myself and maybe some viewers and anybody that's watching, I remember, I believe in our previous podcast, we talked a little bit about there was a vote that was coming up to find out how to pay for that money, because I believe J.P. Morgan was owed the money. There was a certain maturity date that had on Chase. Okay, J.P. Morgan, same. I think they're the same entity now. Okay. But we just said
we were told that we were going to have a chance to vote on it.
Yeah, we're going to. Okay,
or even have dialogue, even.
Yeah, even to speak
public,
on it.
Right,
okay, right. So I remember talking about this in the first podcast, but that was, I thought, separate legislation. What I'm saying is I guess from my understanding is the city budget has been passed, and this inclusion of it was passed within the city budget.
Yes, they added. It was an add-on.
Oh, it was an add-on to the city budget. Right. But I thought that was supposed to be. So maybe there was a reason. I'm not sure. Again, there's a lot of information here, but just to let you know, again, I'm going to reiterate it. The city of Wilmington has passed the city budget, and this thing is included into the city budget now. This $3.4 million.
It's crazy.
I remember, crazy. I think it was some discrepancies. I think our treasurer, Mrs. Potter, had maybe faced some quote unquote criticism from other members inside the city council. Maybe the mayor himself. Maybe I think there was some legislation that was passed to her, but. Just to clear this up, she basically had a solution. There was the mayor's solution. It looked like from looking at the paperwork.
Sam Guy addresses it. That's why we say.
So okay, so Sam addresses it. Okay,
yeah,
okay. All right.
We got the we got the clip where, because they did 2 votes before that and never asked Sam.
Well, they did more than 2. They did 3. Like,
okay.
Going back to the attitude of the city council president, Councilman Guy was in attendance.
Yeah.
He left and came right back.
Okay.
And they didn't call him to vote for maybe 3 or 4 votes.
Okay.
Had passed. And you can hear the conflict between him and the city council president. She's very antagonistic to the other city council members to vote certain ways, and you can hear it. It's not us. It's not me. You can hear it and see it yourself.
It was interesting in the clip. I was wondering. I mean, I was like, Sam's in the room. I'm not sure how.
Yeah, we was watching. Like, we
were like,
why are they calling
on Sam? I didn't hear Sam say anything.
You had never seen it.
No, I never seen that.
And I've never seen it.
I've never seen it.
To it. I did not have to point it out to you.
Yeah,
it was blatant.
It was blatant.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
let's
see that clip.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Yeah, that was blatant.
Yeah.
There's a lot of clips
Wash.
this week.
No.
President Shabazz.
Yes.
3 yeas, 5 nays, 3 present, and 2 absent.
Declare defeated.
A point of order, ma'am. Are we recognizing Councilman Guy here this evening?
He was not on the floor when we did the attendance and hasn't asked to be considered to be recognized. Councilman Guy, do you wish to be recognized back on the floor?
Certainly, like everybody else has been for years. They recognize when they show up. So you're starting a new rule, the Sam Guy rule. I'm here, but you can keep playing the charade if you want to.
The rule is that you leave the floor, you ask to be excused, and you ask to be recognized to come back on the floor.
There's no such
Could you
rule.
recognize Mr. Guy back on the floor, please?
Yeah, there's
So
no
noted.
such rule.
Thank you.
Continue.
Yes, I have an.
Yo.
Okay.
That's buck wild.
Yeah. I don't know.
How is that happening? That's a thing.
Well, that was lightweight compared to some of the Sam Guy and the things I've seen.
Oh man.
But she's very serious. She's she's what she is.
Man, Sam's a good guy, man.
He's very informative.
He knows the law
man,
and the rules.
And the rules. Yeah, man. He's a lawyer. He's a lawyer. Yeah.
And the YCP lawyer for 30 years. He might know.
Did you see the look like?
Man.
Would you like to be?
Yeah.
The look of disdain.
That was real
say
interesting.
Your Highness when you came back.
Man.
There you go.
It was and you know what
it was.
I'm speechless, but it was interesting how what representative is that notified him that said Cyril Adams. So when we start to dissect into this a little more, I guess, quote unquote, his testimony is interesting and some
Republican
and things that he points out, and
it's the Republican agenda, but we're calling it gentrification now.
Yeah,
and Cyril is a Republican. He's the only Republican out there.
Yeah,
all right.
So
the rest of these guys supposed to be Democrats.
And again, on some of our previous podcasts, we spoke about gentrification and the definition of it again. So I'm not sure where. We got the clip where I guess we go into the understanding of the 3.4 into the budget, and again, this is again for everybody. Again, City of Wilmington, the budget was passed. There's been a budget that's been passed. So,
we starting with we starting with Cyril, who kind of tells exactly the gentrification plan.
Yeah. He
votes for it.
I mean, it's interesting because he's very. He admits it.
He admits
he's honest.
Yeah, he's honest.
He's honest. He admits that the plan is for there to be no affordable housing. In the city of Wilmington.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And that's
along with
thing.
the mayor. This is the mayor's plan to talk about.
But
now.
that's another
this
thing because, like with Hugh, this is somebody getting involved with politics. A lot of this is for people that aren't really in the politics.
Oh man, I'm not.
We're giving a layman's. Because everybody's not political.
No, because I'm not
truly happy.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool because I'm not political. I don't follow. I follow more world politics. Maybe on a federal level. I mean, can't help but follow it in business. But as far as the city and things, I'm very new to this. In fact, I'm like a newborn baby to this type of politics. And the taxpayers, and it's interesting, man.
Spending and using our money.
It's interesting. It's
appropriating our money.
Yeah. How they're handling the money. Yeah.
It was so cavalierly,
and their power.
Yeah, we don't care. We'll kick it down the line.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
we don't need answers. You don't need answers.
Yeah, need to know it's very interesting, man. This was.
Let's show some more.
Yeah, let's
get into zero. Yeah, because this is wild.
With regard to capital budget, I know the $3.4 million with regard to WHP has been kicked around quite a bit and discussed. And I see the $4 million that Councilman Field talked about includes the additional debt service when they refinance that $3.4 million. I think in the debate about this $3.4 million, we're sort of losing the forest for the trees. And that's quite often happens in a budget process. However, the forest on this situation happens to be affordable housing, and it certainly is a planned, deliberate change in policy that the mayor's administration is getting out of the affordable housing business. As a Republican, I never thought the government should be involved in affordable housing anyway. However, spreading this $3.4 million plus the additional $712,000 over 20 years, and then going to allocate those costs to the 200 and some properties that were owned by WHP. Think about it, it's simple math. That's at least $17,000 per house. Okay, if you consider what else was owned by Barclays and the rest of the expenses, you're probably adding another $15,000 to $20,000 per home. And that's on vacant properties alone. So if you take 50-some thousand plus the 160-some to build, you got a cost of a project of about $220,000 per home in some of the most challenged areas in the city of Wilmington. And that possibly cannot be affordable housing. But like I said, those things and developments are left best to private industry that will fill those gaps. To give you an example of what I'm talking about, to show the mayor's change in policy, there were 9 properties sold at the corner of 3rd and Delamore, and on that block for more than $52,500 per property. And that's for vacant property. Now, if you cost, like I said, you put a building on that, that's $160 grand. So who in the city in that neighborhood could afford a $220,000 house? So I know this capital budget will be quite a challenge to the council president to vote for because of her strong advocacy for affordable housing. I certainly know the council lady next to me is a huge advocate for affordable housing also. But adding this cost to the properties and the other things gets us out of that business, and I think it's about time that we got back and centered our focus on what we need to do as a municipality. And I'd like to commend the mayor for making the decision to get out of the affordable housing business. Thank you.
Councilmember Guy.
Whoa. Okay.
Done.
Okay. Now,
Done.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe I just heard him say that affordable housing will be done. Yes, the city of Wilmington will not be involved.
He said it'd be about 225,000.
Yeah. Now,
but it's on Bennett Street.
Yeah. Okay. That's very important because the understanding. Now, the first and foremost, actually, from a personal thank you for that information. I want to say thank you. At least he is a Republican, and he voted Republican. Republicans usually privatize things. So you heard him speak a lot about he doesn't think that there should be affordable housing anyway. That should be something that's passed off to a private industry anyway.
And they do well with public-private stuff.
Public-private, right? So
horribly.
So he, he was he basically stated that, when the cost of the houses are going to go up, and
over 200,000.
So basically, to make a long story short, no one in those communities can afford that. They'll have
they're starting with the community with the lower vote, with the lowest voter turnout.
The lowest voter turnout. Yeah. So, again, thank you for that information.
Harley, she said was her community.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. My district.
Yeah. Fourth district. Yeah. So that I just think that's interesting. That's just interesting information. And again, for the listeners, watchers out there, I mean, this is live. Again, shout out to Channel 22 for this, man.
Now they're going to vote on this in a few minutes.
I mean, again, we know that. I mean, from watching it, the city budget was passed, so people voted yay or nay on this, and
on some fraganacle bull.
Just gentrification. That's, I mean, not
like wholesale gentrification.
There's nothing else to say about it.
Like,
again, thank you for that representative for putting that information in that perspective, in that light, man. He really shed some good information there. I'm not identity politics. So Republican, Democrat, I don't. They all take campaign contributions, so I don't get really caught into that. But it's interesting to hear the perspective from a party that typically votes against that, has a different kind of outlook in that. So that was good information. I must say that was.
But the vote is what confuses me. How do you give such well-informed information and say, yeah, I'm still going to vote for it?
Yeah, which he did. He did put it in that in those terms.
He doesn't vote for the general public.
I'm definitely my support. I want to talk about the present vote. What does the present vote mean? Why? Can we get into what a present vote mean? Because that just does. It seems useless.
The vote is useless right now because we're not being represented by the people that we've elected to represent us. And
for people that are watching, again, with me kind of being on the sidelines and looking in, what I understand about a president is, I guess there's most I guess people vote yes, yay, nay, or present. So what we're talking about is
there's fence sitters. I didn't know a nice way of covering it.
Seat fillers.
But they're sitting on the middle of a fence, all right?
Okay.
And they're not saying yay because they don't want to offend somebody, and they're not saying no because they don't want to do that.
Right.
But what they're doing is they're shirking their responsibilities to the people that elected them to office.
Okay.
But if you elected somebody to office, they can't just be present. They have to show up.
They have to vote yes or no.
You have to be present, and you have to show up and get in battle.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't say, okay, I'm going to sit on the side of the fence.
Yeah.
No.
Let me see how this turns up. I'm not going to pick a side. I'm going to get, like Richard Pryor used to say, I was in all the gangs. Whichever one was winning.
There you go.
I wasn't fighting.
Is it almost like a registered voter who doesn't vote?
Yes.
And doesn't show up?
Yes. And that's why Bennett Street's in that situation.
Wow.
Yes.
Register to vote and should. Yo, Trippy and Vash and Sam.
Yeah.
They are alone down there, and them present votes are going to. The present vote is a yes vote, as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
So if your representative is voting present, you need to rethink that situation,
or call your representative and
be like,
ask,
yo, what are you doing?
Here's what's so interesting about the city of Wilmington. There's so many parts to a small city. There's districts, there's
7 districts.
And the districts, low income low income poverty districts, mostly minorities, quote unquote minority, but it could be financial, your color, whatever. Just minorities, man. They're being attacked, man. Like,
and then the thing is, but what you, directly off of what you're saying, this gentrification project has a black face because it's more black officials since like what, the 80s, 70s?
Right.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that's saying yes or present.
Yes.
Oh, I'm present.
Yes.
Man.
Yes.
I ain't really getting involved, but
Yes.
I'm your I'm your representative.
And from watching it, it's almost, you can sense energy sometimes. So when I watched it, I was like, well, the disposition, the pitch of the voice, everything kind of constitutes that some of them want to do the right thing. It sounds like some of them want to be like, nah, but
they're being strong armed or something.
Maybe I'm not sure. I really couldn't. I was like, man, they just seem like they know.
Make you vote against the people that put you in office.
The people with the power.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And you say you don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, come on,
But that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
But one of the things I noticed was after this, there was the vote for the salaries.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's an incentive right there. I'm not saying that's the incentive, but that's a incentive.
Yeah, I remember you came to me with that, Ob. You said, I think I got it, man, and I didn't put that together because again, there's a lot of information. There was a lot of information in this one. Shout out to you for going down there and
for being
there, man. Shout out to Unc. Everybody out there for the people, man, that are not there. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to us, man, give this man right here.
About me.
We understand, but a shout out. Yeah, but let's. You want to let him see? You want him see Sam?
Come on, before our time is up.
Okay.
Our time.
All right, man.
Our time is up.
Easy.
You know what I mean?
Look.
I want them to see the same thing you saw.
All right.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
Get that.
I'm cool. I got
get that outrage.
All right. Okay. Nothing else to say. All right. That's cool.
Let the public see.
Okay.
They're not.
Of this
They're not
ordinance.
seeing it.
The capital program. There's a section 2 that says housing partnership debt assumption. Budget request 3.4 million. And then it says the project description says provides funds to satisfy outstanding debt incurred by the Wilmington Housing Partnership. So that's what we're voting on. Okay, so if the debt was incurred by the Wilmington Housing Partnership, they would be the ones paying it. So this document to me is not an honest document because the city of Wilmington incurred a debt to a bank. And we have to pay the bank back. The truth of the matter is that Wilmington Housing Partnership borrowed $3.4 million from the Wilmington residents and haven't paid Wilmington residents back. So those are two different transactions. So why would the city of Wilmington go and borrow money under these set of circumstances versus collecting the money from the Wilmington Housing Partnership? We have not had a meeting yet where all of the assets of the Wilmington Housing Partnership have been laid out on the table. What we have learned is that the UDAG Corporation has been allowed to jump in line ahead of City Council, and they may have secured their outstanding debt and left ours unsecured, because we have this little crooked operation in Wilmington where you have all of these different people sit on multiple committees and commissions and boards, and then they look out for their friends and family. So the Wilmington Housing Partnership for the last decade has been chaired by Pacini Poland. So he's essentially had $3.4 million that he controlled to go out and buy land from who we wanted to buy it from, or sell it to who we wanted to sell it to hire whoever they wanted to hire to be staff members. And now Housing Partnership wants to act like they don't have our money. And because the same people, some sitting on this council floor, some in administration, are on the Housing Partnership and other boards and commissions, the citizens of Wilmington is being asked to pay for the $3.4 million that the Housing Partnership borrowed. And to add insult to injury, this legislation is designed for the city to go borrow $3.4 million to pay off the debt to the bank and let Housing Partnership walk away free and not pay us back our money. There should have been a committee meeting. See, in Washington, D.C., they're not stupid. They have these committee meetings when there's a need for the legislative branch to investigate what's going on with our Wilmington Housing Partner, with our money from the Wilmington Housing Partnership. We don't have that kind of committee because the people who control the key organizations in the city government make sure that those kind of meetings don't take place. So now we're supposed to sit here and vote to basically authorize the city to go borrow $3.4 million when we have the $3.4 million sitting right at our disposal in the current budget, and if not in the current and next year's budget, to pay this $3.4 million off. What the mayor wants us to do as members of council, and I'm not co-signing no political stuff. This is a financial decision, but it's being politicized, and I'm going to tell you how it's being politicized. When you have $3.4 million...
15 seconds, Mr. Guy.
Thank you, and I'm going to have my second 5 minutes after somebody else goes. In fact, I'll pause then, and I'll take my second 5 in due course.
Okay.
All right, now Sam Guy gave you the breakdown. That's what's going on.
Okay.
Now Cyril Adams told you what he told you about the houses.
Yeah.
Now Cyril Adams is going to say something else, and then Sam thanks him for it. But the system is so rigged, like Councilman Guy is saying. And he's an attorney in all reality.
Yeah. Shout out to Sam Guy.
You know what I mean? He's quite a gentleman.
Yeah.
You know, he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And with everything he said so far, the room, if you hear the talk about the room, is dead silent.
Yeah. Now,
dead silent.
I think from the previous podcast, when we looked at some of the paperwork, again, I think Treasurer Potter,
yes,
the way she kind of went in the same lines as Sam was, as to say, listen, we almost have the money there to pay it, or in the next budget we can take care of it. And when you, again, looked at the other side and what was offered, it seemed like, again, extra interest, more money was being put out.
We're
yeah,
giving the bank a bunch of interest.
A bunch of interest.
That's not necessary.
That's not necessary. That's what
that's 20 years of interest.
20 years of interest.
Yeah, 20 years. 20.
So
and the other place already got paid back.
Well, now listen, the other place, somehow Buccini and them have managed to pay off some other creditors. And what I heard him say, something to you, that money, that's the federal government.
Yeah.
And I guess if you don't appease them, you don't get no more shots.
Yeah.
But for the city of Wilmington, Buccini and Poland shouldn't get any more money given to them out of our coffers. I mean, we financed a bunch of their things. They're the largest landowner in the city.
Yeah.
You know, let's look at this in another light now. Come on, let's back off a little bit.
Okay.
And let's get some money given to somebody else, like our neighborhoods, our real neighborhoods.
Yo, it's all crazy to me. This paper watching.
Oh, all right. But like the neighbors that we do, that we all live in, they're not getting a dime in all this capital budget and all that. All these councilmen sitting in there, and not one of these councilmen in there right now, with all these projects and all that stuff, have I heard of a program for the young men.
Yeah.
40 young men. Now, I hear a lot of stuff. I have to say it all the time. I constantly hear programs for dancing and singing. I do, man. I really do. Everything's a celebration, you know. I have to admit it. Maybe I'm like a bah humbug guy, but I tell you, they just had a celebration. They have them all the time. And I asked somebody, I said, well, who's going to be your speaker? And they said, what do you mean, man? We're going to do this. I said, no, but who's going to talk about today's events?
Yeah.
You know, today's events, we don't have a newspaper in the city of Wilmington.
Yeah.
We have nothing conveying the actions and the interactions of the regular people.
You know, this was an interesting. What I liked about this was, look at the parallels. Look at a Republican giving us the information in a certain light, and then
he's laughing.
It's almost like he straight up was like, "Man, this is
what we're doing.
This is what we're doing."
He's doing a Donald Trump. He is laughing.
And then Sam kind of was like, "Yeah, that's what they're doing."
Yeah.
And it's interesting,
and
but
then you say, "Okay, I'll go for it."
Yeah.
The voters. Or you hum the fence.
Man.
Those two young ladies need to get off the fence.
Yeah.
And if your eyes are wide open, truthfully, I don't think either one of them are blind. I'll be truthful.
No, it didn't seem like it. They're honest. They felt like they're not.
They better go on the right side of it.
Yeah,
that present vote is.
Yeah.
A present vote is not a vote.
A present vote, it's like people saying, yo, why you get to when the CEO of Starbucks got in the presidential race?
Right.
They was like, yo, you just taking votes so Trump can win. What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's the same thing the present vote does.
Yeah.
The communities don't need present votes.
They don't need a present.
Wilmington's at war. We're under attack. Now, come on, the community. We need to fight back.
We need city council officials that are going to protect their district.
That's right.
Yeah,
Not say, well, I didn't have all the information, so I didn't vote.
Yeah.
If you don't have the information, don't vote.
There you go.
It's interesting, man. He literally,
and the people that don't give you the information are the ones wanting you to vote yes.
Yeah.
So you know you got to vote no.
And come on now, we've seen enough of good hope. Well, if we just say yes, maybe they'll tell us.
It doesn't happen.
They're not going to tell you nothing if they didn't tell you before.
Yeah.
You keep waiting for them to tell you after. You tell me how that works.
Yeah, again, we're speaking more of when you finally go and they make a call for a vote. It's like yay, nay, or present. And we're speaking to some of the representatives that just when they say present, it's like they're not saying yes, they're not saying no, but the reality is, well, you're saying no.
What they're saying, I'm gonna be nice.
I just be nice. That'd be nice.
Present with the body, but not with the mind.
Yeah, just be nice.
All right. The body's in the room, but evidently the minds aren't.
Yeah.
You know, that's putting it mild.
I know from watching it for myself a little bit. Again, Sam speaks more to
on point.
More of the situation concerning this money, and again, this was money that seemed to be something that was totally. I think we touched on it a little bit in the first podcast or the second one. That was a toy. It seemed to be a resolution that was included itself within the city budget. It was put in and then voted upon.
Hey, Ms. Baker, we may just start doing it live because she asked how often are we uploading. We might just do it live so that way we can get that interaction.
Shout out to Sam and shout out to Miss Baker.
Yeah,
how you doing? Love you. Miss you.
Watching. Pull it up on your phone. I'll send it to you. So that way you can look down every now and then and get the comments. But this is bananas.
Yeah, this is real interesting, man. And when you watch it, so I think Sam talks a little more. And
Ciro gives us something up. Sam.
Ciro doubles down on it again to make sure it's clear a truth about what this does. Like, from almost a systematic thing. He breaks it down about the money, and he looked at the money and he's like, you know what? Yeah, once this happens, the houses will just be too expensive for the people we know that are in low income areas to buy them.
Now, and what did that representative wrote yay, nay, or present?
Oh, I believe he still signed on. He signed on.
He said yes.
He said yes to it.
Well, he's Republican.
No, I'm talking about for the district of Bennett Street. Did they vote?
Yeah, that's Michelle Harley. She always votes with them.
And she voted yay?
Every time.
Oh.
Every time.
It's a lot to unpack, man, because we didn't even get to that part.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's like, how do you do that? You don't have the information. Like, well, they said they would give it to us. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen to this point. Yo, I'm so proud of Vash. Like, Vash is the man.
Now,
does his homework.
And this is his first time in politics.
Yeah, shout out to Vash.
And he's not just saying, well, if that's what they want.
Yeah. I want to touch on that a little bit. There's some clips where Vaz is talking. So when he looks at this budget, I believe he brings up an amendment.
He tears the whole place up. He tears it down.
So what I believe he brings up this amendment, and in this amendment, it looks like he's like, well, I tell you what, since we can't, like,
He
maybe
wants to take
it out.
Take it out.
That's right.
This 3.4 million,
since
we cannot come to an agreement on it,
we don't have the information,
and we don't have the information because it was plenty of representatives that were talking about how blind they are and how little information they are getting. So you can't educate someone without the information to educate them, I guess, so they can look at it.
And you can't make an educated guess.
Yeah, I think that's a hypothesis.
But this ain't science.
Well,
this is real life.
Yeah, no, I just know that was the first time
I have it, and they're dumb.
No, yeah, it's but the amendment. So he's like, listen, since we cannot come to an accord, let's just amend it and take it out.
And the thing is, like it's too much like right.
Yeah,
and for him to have that wisdom.
Yeah,
he's sharp.
Yo,
yeah, he's sharp.
Vash is the one, man.
Yeah, man, he's all right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was interesting, man.
Vash, Trippy, and Sam, man, they down there alone.
Yeah. So you go on to watch more of the clip. I don't know how much of the
we at 0 right now.
Oh, we at 0.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just show a little more.
Yes, Madam
This is some
President.
foolishness.
Again, to reiterate this, the mayor is refinancing the $3.4 million over a period of time so that he can assign the cost of the $3.4 million to the homes that will eventually be developed on the properties owned by WHP. So yes, if there's 200 homes owned by WHP and there's $3.4 million outstanding, that's an additional $17,000 that will be assigned to the bases of these homes. In addition, there will be acquisition costs and another few things with regard to this that will drive the cost of these properties much higher. That's why I'm saying we're getting out of the affordable housing business with this vote. Okay, we're no longer going to provide that, and we're basically recovering the $3.4 million over 20 years, plus the additional $700,000, which will be another $3,500. So, quite frankly, the cost of these homes will be, like I said, $220,000, $230,000. Now, whether or not somebody on the east side can afford a home of $220,000, $230,000, well, that'll be a market rate thing, but the city's no longer going to subsidize that. And like I said, I applaud the mayor for getting out of the affordable housing business. Thank you.
Councilman Guy?
Yes. So now, first of all, we as a council didn't vote to get out of the affordable housing business. So if the mayor and councilman that just spoke, if that's a decision they made together, now the rest of you all know what you're getting ready to vote for. They just admitted to you that the object is to get out of the affordable housing business in a city where at least 1/4 of the population is viewed as highly low income. Very interesting perspective from the mayor. In fact, it's aligned with my monopoly operation theory. Right now, they're playing monopoly. They don't care about people. You don't get out of the affordable housing business. And I would like each one of you that are district council people to go look at the data for your district and see how many people live in housing that would be considered affordable housing. Nevertheless, here's what the mayor wants you to do. The mayor wants you to cover for Pacini Poland's chairmanship blunders. So he quit. Once this all blew up, he quit and walked away. But they had already basically spent all the money up. That's why they can't pay us back. We still don't know where the money is. We have a list of properties that I've had an opportunity to look at. Streets all over the place, Vandiver, Coleman, Church, 7th Avenue, Bennett, Anchorage, and various other streets. They haven't given us the list of all of the transactions. We had a little small meeting. They've not provided any packet of information showing us what's going on. So here's what they want you to do. I want all of the people who are young that live in Wilmington, they need to pay attention, because your mayor is in a position through the treasurer and council to pay this $3.4 million that we owe the bank off within a year's time. Instead, they want to, in a sense, refinance. Now, what that really means is they want to borrow $3.4 million to pay off $3.4 million, and that's going to include $1.8 million in interest over the next 20 years. So all you young people, this is what they call kicking the can down the road. This is what older people do when they say, okay, here's this big debt, government debt, when they run the government. And they say, well, we're not going to pay this now. We're going to let the next generation get stuck with paying this bill. So all of you who are going to be in the prime of your life during the next 20 years, this $3.4 million blunder didn't happen on your watch. You're not responsible for it. But your mayor and the sponsors of this, what they want to do is say, well, they want to be able to spend money now. So they want to borrow money to pay off a debt that they could pay off today, so that the future generation will take, instead of 3.4 being paid now, future generations will pay $5.2 million. And why are they doing that? They're kicking the can down the road because they want to be able to say to you that there's a surplus, that there's a $4.4 million surplus. Well, you don't need a $4.4 million surplus when you have $1.2 million sitting there right now, and you could really pay the whole thing off, and by the time we pass the next budget, there's enough money to pay it all off. So this is political. Watch when election time comes and people campaigning on a surplus. It's because they're doing it on the backs of the young people who are coming in the next 20 years. So that's the games that's being played, and I'm not playing that game. And the watchman warned you, and y'all can do what you want to do at home, all you young folks. When you're wondering why your taxes are all jacked up, it's because we didn't pay off this bill right now that we can pay off right now. I looked at the budget documents, and we have over $1 million and some dollars to be able to pay off a portion now. And soon as we pass the operating budget, we can pay off the balance. It's not due totally until September. That's when the whole 3.4 has to be paid off. So
10 seconds.
Yes. So you're spending $10,000 a month on interest, plus you're spending $300,000 a month on interest for the other capital money. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilmember Walsh.
Okay.
A lot of money.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's go right into it.
All right, $7 million extra interest. $7 million in extra interest is now going to be paid by the city of Wilmington residents to a banking associate, probably of the mayor.
And that's interesting because it's he speaks about it possibly going to the next generations. Now, in this, I guess to be fair, in this clip also you had some other representatives speaking their quote unquote opinions about what Mr. Guy talked about, maybe his viewpoints, the way he looked at it, and of course, what did they state, a conspiracy theory?
Well,
I want to make sure that that I put that out there because, you know, maybe some of them say, oh, well, this is all telling. I know there's a couple interesting things that I'm going to monitor just looking at this, and that is to see, he spoke about a political thing that's going to come up because of this next election, and about the surplus of the budget. Now,
and that'll be the key word for the election.
The surplus. And I'm like, okay, this I've seen presidents and stuff run off of a surplus. I've heard this surplus thing many a time, you know, to run on it. It's not that.
It just means they didn't pay. They kicked the bills down the line. Like if we know anything from the Clinton era and the Bush era,
yes,
we know about kicking it down the line.
Yes. Oh, they brag.
Oh,
we have a surplus, and then took that surplus and went to war, and then broke, and the next person comes in and fixes the problem.
While the surplus is happening, they're privatizing on the other side of the street.
Yeah, that's definitely.
We have to look at the enemy here and what they're doing to the city of Wilmington.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Can we
wow.
Now, can we go into them kicking it down the line and a couple of buzzwords for what it's going to look like down the line? Because you can't say we're going to raise taxes.
Right.
So what you have to do, especially in the privatized, you got to start raising other stuff.
That's right.
You got to start raising water. You got to start raising fines.
Yeah.
You got to start raising tickets.
Yeah.
So how much is a ticket with a boot on the car now?
I have no idea.
Just think about how much
I'm scared to death.
Yeah.
Yo, think about how much it'd be to help cover that $7 million down the line. If it's like $1.50 plus, you got to pay the buck to get the code to take it off.
Yeah.
Think of how much it's going to be down there. How much are tickets going to be?
Well, I will say this here: the leading revenue giver for the last 2 years for the city of Wilmington has been red light traffic signals.
Okay.
Now, they were supposed to be put up for safety purposes.
Okay.
But they are not being used that way now, and they haven't for quite some time.
Yeah.
Now, I've debated this subject with Butfield a couple times. So I'm not going to go through that now.
Emperor Palpatine.
But they're supposed to be put in for safety practices, but it's the largest revenue giver. Now, I still don't understand how, with all these corporations and all these businesses, how the red light traffic cameras, the largest revenue giver to the city.
They keep raising the price because they can't raise taxes.
This is mine. This is theirs.
Yeah.
They keep raising the price on it. Somebody told me the other night when I was driving, I was like, what?
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
If we have,
and he lived over Midtown.
I'm not sure, but if we had possibly have someone that's watching or listening that might help me with this one. I think recently there might have been something where they're about to raise the water, like raise your water bill.
We talked about that.
Yeah, I think.
What was it? It's going up seven times or 7%.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I think
I know every month now it's like the percentage happens every month, a percentage on which you might owe from a month to month basis.
Okay. And
the interest is going month to month, and it's like it's astronomical.
Okay, and I think there was also some legislation that to the representatives brought to the floor about maybe abandoned vacancies, and if you don't keep your place clean, I think they're just increasing fines. Moreover, I'm not sure if they passed it or not.
And that was so they could sell it to the same people they selling the other stuff to.
Okay.
Delaware Land Bank. That's one.
Let's just take people's property and sell it to them.
Yeah. Okay.
That's another armed octopus.
Okay.
It's nasty, man. It's like who's watching? Who's policing? Who are the police that police this type of activity?
Yeah.
Are they all part of the same team?
Well, see, brother, that you hit home with that one. That's my biggest concern here. I mean, we all know it's crooked. I mean, they can call it a conspiracy theory, whatever, but a blind man can connect these dots.
It's a conspiracy theory if it doesn't come. It's only a conspiracy till it comes true.
Yeah, it's saying but
somewhere in law enforcement, somebody has to see. We got a guy, look, 10 minutes, 20 minutes back, he's talking about creating fraud, making fraud legal, election fraud legal. And now they're forcing an issue on people that people probably didn't know was even in the budget properly. Half the people in the room. I know I was at the meeting and left a little early because I didn't know it was in the budget.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That 3.4. If I knew it, I wouldn't have left the meeting personally.
Yeah.
I thank God for Channel 22 because I can see it later.
Channel 22.
Shout out.
What up, James?
We're not trying to get you shut off 22.
No, Channel 22 is a lifesaver.
No, man.
No. People watching, and they may try to shut you off.
Oh, no. Why?
They've taken over 28.
Yeah, I mean, that would be, it's public.
They've taken over 28.
Hey, Miss Baker asked, what was the outcome? Should we jump ahead or should we play Vash's clip? yeah. Miss Baker, we don't want to... We don't want to tell you the outcome of the evening. It is.
I tell you, we're getting long.
It's okay.
It's flabbergasting.
Jump ahead. Let them hear Vash. Then we'll cut it short.
Yeah. Actually, okay. Now again, go back. All right. Make sure it's the part where Vash brings the amendment. And
well, I can't.
Okay. All right. That's
the first part.
All right. Okay.
Like everything he says is vital.
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm
and
saying?
Sam spoke again, and he was right on point too.
Yeah. Shout out to Sam God.
It's good. It's good. Go to Vash.
Go to Channel 22.
Actually, want to meet you, Sam.
If you're not into politics, go to channel22.org.
Yeah.
And check it out. When was this from?
This was Thursday night.
All right. So this was Thursday night. I don't want to jump ahead and say let's talk.
Today is Tuesday.
Yeah, today's Tuesday. So
yeah.
All right, I got Vash. Let's listen to the young king right here.
Okay. Shout out to Vash.
Turner.
Oh, my bad.
I'm gonna start with Councilman Adams first. Councilman Adams speaks about knowing about the properties, knowing about the liens, knowing about the loans. Councilman Adams, if you got an email outside of email that I requested for the last 4 months, I requested an email to be sent to all of us so we all know the HUD-1 of Wilmington Housing Partnership, economic development, and any city properties in the last 10 years. So if you got the HUD-1 agreement for that, I put it on the record. I sent the email. We still haven't received that. So Wilmington Housing Partnership, we don't know the HUD-1. We don't know free and clear, how many properties are free and clear, how many are in a loan. We don't know that. Us as council were voted to be checks and balances. It seems like on this floor is just checks. Either we checking for somebody, but we ain't doing no checks and balances. Checks and balances needs to be happening when we talk about Wilmington Housing Partnership. I'm going to go back into the history of this Wilmington Housing Partnership. Councilwoman Rashima Dixon of her committee, Community Urban Planning, as then the executive director of Wilmington Housing Partnership, before any debacle or anything went down, this was probably about a year ago. He was scheduled to attend and canceled on the same day that we were having the meeting. So we never got a chance to know about the properties that Wilmington Housing Partnership had a year ago before we got to this point. On your desk, Councilman Adams, you have two papers that I want to put in the record. You have a paper that says Exhibit B. It tells you all of 2016, a sale proceeds used for payment of 2016 bond. In that, you see two arrows, one pointed at 4 7th Avenue. It says there's 7 units for $945,000. Estimated funding date for that would be 12/30/2017. We are now in 2019. There's another arrow that says 1,400 Anchorage. It says 15 units for $2.4 million. Estimated funding date is 5/30/2018. That's Exhibit B. You have another form that if you look at the bottom corner of it, it says September revised, September 17th, 2018. That's last September. That's after Councilwoman Dixon asked the executive director of the Women Housing Partnership to come speak, and we have a revised copy of what their line items are. If you look at the top, now you have, as of 2018, and the other one I told you was 2016, it tells you that 4 7th Avenue, the units it has is 7 units. But now the number of sales proceeds is now $250,000, which was at $945,000. And then it says the schedule, what's used for the line is $125,000. Then you go down to 14 Anchorage, where it gives you a paper. You can look at the paper, but it's not telling you on my face. It's telling you on
Councilman Turner, please direct it to the chair.
1,400 acreage. It tells you number of units, 15 units. On the other sheet, 2.4 million. I got more than 1 minute. I got my clock, but 2.4 million. And then on the paper I just told you to say that says revised 9/17/2018, it says 14 Anchorage has 1 property, 1 unit. We done lost 14 units. We lost 14 units and almost $2 million plus dollars. And you want to sit here as an accountant, as your profession, to say it's okay for us to vote on this when we sit here and have discrepancies of two items. We ain't even went through all the other items. 2 items where it's a discrepancy of money and discrepancy of units. That's all for my first 5 minutes.
Councilwoman Oliver, did you?
Yeah, we don't need to hear what she says.
Now be nice.
What did she say?
But what did she say though?
She just defended a gentleman who's involved in the lawsuit, saying that he was a nice guy.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the guy that we didn't know who he was.
Yeah,
right?
we didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
All right. So, as I watch this, and this is like second time watching it, it's like, man, there's a lot of shadows here. There's a lot of seems some people know some things, some people don't, and it's just a lot of it's interesting. Shout out to Vash for that information again. He broke into the numbers a little bit, but overall we're just looking at this was they voted on the
what Vash is saying.
They voted on the budget, but yeah,
there's over $2 million missing and 14 properties missing or something like that.
Yeah,
and he only got into 2 items. There's
14.
Yeah,
missing, unaccountable for it.
Yeah.
Well, they vanished with the money. They
yeah, there's some
the money and the property.
Yeah.
Well, is it me or why can't you address somebody directly? Why does she say?
Well, see, the information Vash was giving up was pertinent and correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
And anything that she can do to disrupt your tone, your voice, that she does it.
Yeah.
And you heard he fired back. I got my own timer.
I got my clock.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But his message is pertinent.
Okay.
Stuff is missing.
Okay, so from this point, I think I'm not sure.
We go to Vash one more time. He get that last part, and then they go to the vote.
Okay. So Vash speaks about the amendment.
Oh yeah. He tries.
And so
and then we go to the
again.
vote.
So again, people, it seems to be a disagreement. So just as a representative, it seems like he's like, hey, if we can't figure this out, let's amend this. Let's take it out and let's not include this in the city budget.
That's right.
So
that's the intelligence.
But we also have what is it? McCoo?
Yeah.
Talks is was she the one that didn't get information?
Yeah, well, all of them.
Yeah, there were two.
Her and Dixon both said they couldn't get in. And even Harley said she didn't have information.
Should we play her one of them just to show people? We talking about the present vote
she voted president.
Okay, yeah,
and the people that didn't get information are your representatives
That's right.
that you elected
president. She does say
something. And it's like, oh yeah, I didn't get all the information.
Yeah.
And
I noticed.
A lot of those houses went there.
Hey, did y'all notice something, y'all? It seems like for everyone almost that possibly voted on it, it seems like their thing is, well, let's vote on it and worry about it later. Does
In
anybody
good faith,
in good faith? Does anybody getting that feeling? It's like, okay, well, vote it. And
It's
we'll handle it down the road, because down the road they won't have any responsibility for it anyway. You know, it doesn't.
They'll give us this.
So it was interesting. If you have a clip of one of
I got one of them right here.
Okay, if you want to show that.
In my district, one of the reasons why my chair for community development and urban planning, she made certain that Mr. Martin was there to present, was because I always had questions about the property that was going on in my district. All of the things that Wilmington Housing Partnership had purchased, and then they basically had stopped movement. So as I try to get those questions answered, not only speaking to Mr. Martin, but speaking to his direct supervisor at the time, I believe, which was Mr. Safran, I just didn't get those questions answered. And even when we did have the first presentation, and he tried to make us aware that he was able to sustain, and then things kind of like fell apart. But that's neither here nor there. My issue now is the fact that I'm still in this district, and I still have lots of questions. And I'm asking these questions. I'm going to the historic registry about these addresses and trying to find out who owns them. Is it still owned by the Wilmington Housing Partnership? How are we moving forward? How much money needs to happen? Still trying to connect with Mr. Safran. Even I've given everybody my number to give to him. He hasn't called me back yet. So I'm at a place now that I'm feeling a little disrespected. I'm feeling as though people are patting me on my head and saying, "Little girl, this is above your pay grade." I just wanted to get answers so that I can make certain that the people that are within my district are all of the promises that were made to them about how we're going to redo things, because things are moving forward. I got 5 brand new homeowners in my district, and we're seeing things happen. But this area here has been just a mess. It's been bulldozed over and just left dormant for far too long. And when I try to get answers, no one has anything for me. And it's just a little disappointing that we're still at a point where we're not able to get answers. That's all I have to say.
Councilman Harlan.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. So,
real quick,
what you got, Dave?
Council Lady Harley had her hand up.
I saw. That's what I was going to say.
She asked. She said she didn't get any information either.
Was she raising her hand to cut her off, or?
Well, she raised her hand to say she didn't get any information either, but she's going to go along with the program. That's what she says.
So, first off,
I'm paraphrasing her, but that's basically just what she said.
First off, if she feels she's being disrespected, she is being disrespected. This is some disrespectful. It's disrespectful. You're the representative for that district, and you can't get answers of what's going on in your district?
Yeah.
Well, she said it herself. It's above her pay grade.
She said that's what she feels.
She's
like.
Makes her feel that way.
It's like, what is it? Don't piss on my head and tell me it's rain.
Well, some people do that too.
Don't give me broccoli and say that it's green.
Well, but I just said you present in the body, but not in the mind.
Yeah.
All right, and it may sound a little harsh, but it's truthful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're there. They hear all the evidence between Vash and Sam. They heard all the truthful evidence, and the other side showed their point.
Yeah.
And how did she vote? Yeah. Not even having the information she requested.
But she's one of the reasons we just wanted to show an example of looking at the information. It seems like it's someone that cares.
So she does care. I think
no, she seems real sincere, and she really cares, man.
She cares about her district,
and she cares about her district. But she voted. But her hand might be held a little bit, so she voted present. And I understand that. And again, for people that no. I mean, I don't agree. I'm just saying I understand. I understand too. I understand. I'm saying, but for the people that are watching, this is for you. This is for you to see, for you to understand. And for you to agree,
and for you to look at me,
for you to see it for yourself. It's just kind of interesting.
Go to channel 22.
Yeah, shout out to 22.
Watch it on your phone. Watch it on TV.
Hold
on, I wanna. I'm trying to get past Harley because I want to get to what Trippy says.
Yeah, now true. Yeah, true. Yeah,
because Trippy say, look, This
Yeah.
is our time to say no.
Yes, yes.
He reiterates it
If
over
we don't
and over.
understand
Yes,
it,
yes.
don't do it.
Yeah,
He virtually
shout-
begs them
Yes, to vote the right way. Yeah,
He
shout out to
begs them.
Trippy.
He virtually begs
He's
them.
like, yo,
Yeah,
we don't understand what's going on. Let's not
let's
do it.
not
Let's
do
not
it.
stop.
Yes.
Let's not
Stop.
keep. Oh, all right.
We got
I'm-
time.
I'm going to Trip.
Yeah.
I just want to help my colleagues be able to recognize that this is the only time that we have power to force the administration's hand. And you heard Councilman Turner mention that he requested some information 4 months ago and we haven't received it. We heard Councilwoman McCoy request information. She never received it. That's in her district. And I know this is only one line item in the for the capital program, but if you think about it, there has been no cooperation from anyone just to give us some answers, and this is the only time that we can force their hand. And if we say no, it forces their hand. We have been agreeable in the past, and it hasn't helped. We've been ignored, but if we say no, they have to pay attention to us. And this is the only time in the year where we get to do that. So I just want to put that out there for my colleagues to realize the power that we have this evening. Thank you.
No lies told. That was all facts.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's right. I tell you,
Yeah, that's that brother right there seemed to be like he's
sincere.
Yeah, man, he was like, oh, come on, like this is the yeah. I kind of you could feel his energy. You could feel how he just like seemed frustration, you know, and he's begging with his peers to do the right thing, man.
And he made his comment after listening.
Yes,
That's right.
yeah,
The whole time.
Yeah,
The whole
He
time.
was listening.
yes, yeah.
He
Yeah.
wasn't telling people you got a couple minutes left.
Yeah.
You need to wrap it up. Do anybody that's for the BS get wrapped up? I just want to know.
We're gonna give you the good.
You're getting really good at this.
This is that raw that I wanted, you know, so we could calm down and have some fun. Also, while we're just trying to get people to, you know, yeah,
To pay attention.
just to pay attention to some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
I
pay
mean,
attention.
really,
you
an
know.
election is coming and soon.
Yeah,
And it's not just a presidential election. People are going to be elected all throughout the state.
Yeah.
All throughout the
I
state.
think the governors are up for. Are some of the governor seats up?
Yeah.
This is the 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this is big. Next year's big.
This the 4-year
Hope
mark.
somebody runs
Next-
against our governor. Somebody with some young, youthful ideas.
Yeah.
I call these guys young men because I'm a little older.
And here,
but
if
they're
you,
men.
if
you know
you,
what I mean?
if you
Some
do,
young guys with good ideas.
if you do run, please run more on a legislative progressive
There you go. That's
platform and not a blue doggish corporate platform.
Hey, that's that youth.
Yeah, we the blue dog Democrat and you hear that word and you just always associate it with, you know, with what you associate it with, but it's just a word.
Well, maybe we get a moderate Republican.
You know, their laws. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I don't care
Yeah.
who we get. It's just that.
Independent even.
Yeah.
My God,
Oh,
I
yeah.
wish
We
could have an
would never
independent.
get an independent. Yeah, because independent, like when you're an independent, I believe you can't vote in the primaries
No, not
in the state of Delaware
No.
when you're independent. So yeah.
You got to run last. But listen,
Yeah.
if he had a good independent, he could run last after all that crap is done. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
Democrat, the
he can
Repub-
sit there till the end.
Yeah, the Democrats
Yeah.
and the Republic blood, they can have their fight, have their
Yeah.
gang war, and that good independent.
Yeah.
We had a good one, a real one.
Well, you should shout out to Sam Guy again, man. He being an older gentleman. I'm 43. I'm getting up there, so he's looking at the youth. Where it's ecliptic as far as his, and that was for you, Miss Baker, by the way, giving me that eclectic mind state there, you know, that wide, not just looking at everything like this, but you know, touching on the youth and you know what's going on in the city and what's really kind of scary about it, man, is
well, we need a real program. I mean, really, there's no. In the 70s, I'm a little older than you. In the 70s,
that's why you're here.
After the 60s,
yeah.
And I have to admittedly say I was part of the 60s.
Yeah,
that part,
yeah,
that made them change things in the 70s. In the 70s, there were real programs that would take young men and train them and put them in different directions.
Yeah.
There's a lot of programs nationwide that are trying to do these things. I've been told.
Yeah.
I just know in the city of Wilmington where I live and we live, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's
yeah.
I see a lot of young men and women with good minds. I mean, when I say a good mind, I mean they just want to be honest kids.
It's a lot.
They just want to grow up and be honest
smart,
people.
good kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just want to go to work, come home, and have some of the nicer things in life.
Yeah.
And it's not being made available.
Lack of resources.
Yes, totally the lack of resources.
Lack of resources.
Totally lack of resources.
Yeah.
Totally.
This was.
It's crazy.
This was kind of interesting. So are we going back to Vash a little bit with Vash?
Vash is the vote.
Okay.
Because yeah, it's we said it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And like PJ posted, now I see why they bullied me to sell my house on Bennett Street.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now what the brother posted and said, now he sees why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man.
Because if he had held on, guess what?
Oh yeah.
The value of his house will go up as soon as they move him in.
Yeah.
Once
Because
they hit
they're coming in.
222,000,
They're coming in. The
a house he
gentrification
paid
program.
$5,000
That's
for.
right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, like the neighborhood I live in has always been a nice neighborhood, but years ago, I remember this house worth $20,000.
Remember them houses was all like,
we all lived
like down by Blue Cross. A lot of them was empty.
I'm saying they were $20,000
vacant.
houses.
Yeah,
back
I remember talking
They
to
was clubhouses.
You know what I mean?
some close family members that said that when they went into the neighborhood at the time, the homes weren't very expensive at all.
No, I'm telling you.
And now they're worth $350,000, $400,000.
I've been there a long time. I've been there a real long time, and
based on the ground that it sits on in the area that and its
property
location
value has really gone up.
Yeah.
But you got to sit and wait. But if you can't sit and wait when it's coming, like so many of us can't,
yeah,
because of our financial disposition, and also because of information being fed us.
Yeah.
We move, we sell, we go away.
Yeah, definitely.
When we should stay.
Yeah.
But this program is so it's like an octopus.
Yeah.
Because see, they put you in jail for this. They'll condemn you for this. And now, and I mean, and I'm not here to praise the city in any way. I'm not here to attack it, but so much to attack that I figure they can sing their own praise.
Or if you got the money to stay, they'll raise the property tax until they could choke you out.
Well.
Yeah.
Thanks to Vash Turner and some of the other people in city council right now, they are passing some legislation for people like me that are senior citizens. We can get grandfathered in, so forth and so on.
Okay.
I like to say that.
Yeah.
And I would also like to say this here: don't be fooled when you see a person's name on a bill or something, because if it's a good one, every one of them want to be on it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but if it's a good bill or a good idea,
yeah, like she said, I'm presenting this for the administration.
That's right. And everybody jump on it, everybody won't.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we have some good things that hopefully in the wind for us seniors and for the rest of the communities.
That's cool.
With this gentrification program, but it is a strong thing and it's real. And I remember Poplar Street Project A and B, is what I want to say. How they leveled the east side years ago and took 20 years from halfway rebuild it, and now they're leveling it again. And to the sister over there in Browntown area, you're not old enough to remember Poplar Street Project A and B. If you were, you wouldn't know what's going on. The answers that you haven't got, you won't get. None of us will.
It got bulldozed
That's
and
right.
sitting there, and she's trying to get an answer.
No answers.
And it's like, who are you?
No answers. There will be no answers.
I'm the city council rep for that district.
Or you get lied to.
Y'all get shut down.
Yeah.
Or you get lied to.
Yeah.
And before we go to Vash, I have to say one last thing about our guy, Bud
What up,
Friel.
Dwayne?
Bud Friel, on his thing with his picture, his first thing he has on there and on his own profile is Wilmington Housing Project. He's a part of it. That's the first thing he has, that he's a member of the WHP. He's a part of all this. He shouldn't be allowed to vote on it. Just like he should not be allowed to vote on any of those things dealing with Rodney Square or DART, because he works for them. Our government is corrupted.
Oh my gosh! What?
All right, but if you pull his personal page up, on his profile on the city council, he'll probably take it off now. But the very first thing on there is WHP, not the second, not the third. The very first of things he belongs to is WHP, and this is a lifetime politician. Because younger than me, he's been in city council for 40 years.
Who is WHP?
Wilmington Housing Project.
And what companies?
That was Buccini, that was Bob Buccini and the mayor doing affordable housing.
I think Sam Guy said something about that. I think he touched on that.
Sam touched a couple times on him being involved with the DART, and he said something tonight about people in that council being on the board.
Yeah,
it's crooked. It's a crooked deal.
Yeah.
It's truly crooked.
Let's go, okay, Unc.
All right.
Ooh.
Hey, fired.
Hey, Unc.
Fire!
Yo, there. We need It's crooked, man.
See the vote, man.
Oh, man. All right. Let's get to the Bass clip.
Yeah,
man.
let's get the Bass because.
Cool. All right.
Yeah, it's crooked, man. Yes, it's crooked, man.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through these last 2.5 years of us being on council, I have agreed, I disagreed with the administration. One thing about council, like I keep saying, we're the checks and balances. I haven't seen a time on this council that we stuck together as a whole and held the administration accountable to answering not only to us, but answering to the city residents of this city. This is our opportunity to be checks and balances and not just checks. And checks can be you checking off a paper or you cashing a check. But we are checks and balances. I ain't going to do nothing talk about no conspiracies because I don't know nothing about all that. But I do know about what I see on this floor. Right now, we sat here and we said that one line item we don't agree with, but we're going to vote for the budget. If you vote for the budget, we vote for that line item. So I tell you what we're going to do. Since we all agree about a one line item, I'm going to make a motion to amend. And on page 15, section G, real estate and housing, number 2, strike out the whole $3.4 million underneath of housing partnership debt assumption. I have a second.
A second.
Point of order. Point of order.
Council, point of.
I don't think it's an appropriate amendment. You can't just delete one line from a budget. You're going to have to amend the entire budget, subtotals, totals, and everything. You can't just say, I'm going to cut this line out. So I don't think it's an appropriate amendment. But I can be corrected if the city.
Okay.
Just a quick comment, then we could go back because that's.
Yeah, this is powerful right here because he's like, again, for everybody watching, anybody's trying to understand this, like I am, like we're just trying to understand. He's like, listen, we don't, let's just take it out then.
That's what Vash is saying.
We don't
take it out.
We don't agree on it. Let's just take it out.
Common sense.
And he really doubled down on what Vash said.
Yes.
Like you can't just take that out. So let's just table this.
Let's table it.
Let's table it until we get all the information we need.
Yes. So when you go on, you just see certain things on the floor start to happen, but then again, I think it's the Republican Cyril Adams.
Yeah, Cyril.
He comes back and he states that what's wrong?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Right.
Yeah, we good, baby. He states that yeah, no, but he states, he's like, well, wait a minute. we've amended things before. I don't know if you want to.
I'm still there.
Okay. It's just stop that. This is just interesting.
I just wanted to stop it.
Okay, so we just talk, unpack a little. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, it's
like I said, it's for people that ain't into politics.
Well,
That
go,
need
right,
to be
go
listening.
right to where Ciro's talks about already amending things before.
Well, Vash not finished. I don't think.
Well, he says he wants to amend it, and then big head boy Frio says he can amend it.
Cut it out, man.
And then they go.
Let's keep talking while I look for it. They're Earl the Big Head.
Yo, cut that out, man.
So then they go back.
And then we come back.
I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
All right, I'm coming back.
My blood sugar's low.
All right, so I'm looking for. Cyril. I found Cyril.
Oh, you found it. That's good.
That's crazy, man. Let me skip.
There's so much.
But
Our followers and listeners, this is so much.
But then it's like
just trying to give it to you live and just so you can see it for yourself, y'all.
because it cut to that one dude on the podium.
Yeah, it's no right or wrong way of doing this.
That was the city solicitor telling Hanifa what to say. You may have taped that.
He was telling her what to say.
No, well, remember, it was interesting, and she seemed like I think they were trying to figure out what a point of order was. So
his job is parliamentary procedure. All right.
Yeah.
Now, what he does though, he does more than that. He goes overboard, and he's giving her a legal litigation.
Yeah.
And Sam Guy catches him. So then when that happens,
you already had your 2 times, sir.
Good. Here we are.
Councilwoman Oliver.
Could you let the solicitor answer that question, please? I mean, he looked like he was, if you don't mind, because I was a little confused.
Mr. Goff.
Well, my understanding is that we've already adopted ordinance 1911. Okay. So that's adopted.
Okay.
It's done. We are now debating ordinance 19-12.
That's what I thought.
That's also what I understand to be the case today. With regard to the motion to amend made by Councilman Turner, as I understand it, was to move to amend page 15 of the program, which is part of the adopted ordinance. A motion to amend an already adopted ordinance is not in order. And that is the ruling, I believe, that the the president has made. So I stand by my position with regard to that parliamentary ruling. It doesn't have anything to do with policy or whether or not different budgets change. There's other issues related to that that deal with the charter, but those are legal issues and not parliamentary issues.
Can you get clarity?
Clarity.
Point of what?
He wants clarity.
Well, that's not a point.
Yeah.
If you're asking a point of order, that would be something that would be up to the.
Councilman Gray.
Yes, I'm asking the question, can he amend 012 then?
Who are we asking?
You're asking the question, can you?
We've already adopted 19-011, correct? We're working on 19-012, correct? So can he amend that one?
That's the one that we're speaking to, so if there is, if you can speak to what that.
So, can I speak?
Wait,
No.
wait, follow
No,
up.
sir, Mr.
Follow
Councilman
up.
Turner. Councilwoman Gray.
I thought it was just said that we've already adopted 19-011.
Correct.
So we're discussing 19-012.
That's correct.
So I don't understand what the adoption of 011 has to do with amending 012, unless what he's asking is in 011.
Right. It's in 012 as well. It is.
His amendment referred to page 15 of ordinance 19011. That has already been adopted.
I'm still in here.
So you cannot go back.
Point of information.
You cannot go back and amend a ordinance that's already been adopted. So we are discussing and debating ordinance 19012. He has a debate with regarding to
Point of
that.
information.
Could you let me talk, please? I'll give you the floor.
This is the chair. This is the president. I am not president. She answers those questions.
I'm answering Councilwoman Gray's question. We are discussing ordinance 19012. you can't, his amendment was to amend something that we've already adopted.
Okay, that's what I was asking for clarification, that his amendment was on 011. Correct.
Correct.
A point of order, Madam President. We amend ordinances that have been adopted all the time. And so I'm trying to understand why there's a change in parliamentary procedure in trying to amend this one specific ordinance then.
Will we make an amendment, not if it's already been adopted and passed, we don't go back into an amendment and then that's already been adopted and amended, we do not do that.
Point of information.
We never amended an ordinance before on this council. We've amended many
Point of
ordinances.
information.
Not if, Council President. My understanding is, did you recognize me or not?
Councilman Walsh.
Thank you. Well, at least I'm polite enough to ask.
All right, we back. I'm just
there you go. Yeah.
This it's so confusing. It kind of got us confused over here. Like it's like I don't know.
Well, see, what has happened is
I don't know.
Councilman Adams saying they have been amending things in the past, and they're saying you can't. Now, what you have to understand is the city solicitor, Bob Groff, I believe his name is. He just replaced the last city solicitor. He's a new guy on the job. He's appointed by the mayor. So just like I guess like Luke Menti, the past city solicitor, just like the ethics committee, that's his opinion on the situation. That's not the law. That's his opinion on the situation. He does not make the law. And see, I do know this here. Councilman Guy knows that. He knows these things are opinions. They're not law. Parliamentary procedure is different from the law. And his advising her has different, on certain issues he can, on certain issues he can't.
Yeah.
And so that's what makes it confusing. But with the Republicans saying, the look on his face says it all.
Yeah. It was interesting.
This is wrong.
This is wrong.
It's wrong. The look on his face says it all. It's
Yeah.
wrong. And we advised or take a vote, and you can hear how she talks to the other people during the vote, enforcing a vote.
Yeah.
It's out of place, but this is what's going on. It's crooked, and we got a crooked system.
Yeah, it was just kind of interesting that he wants to just put an amendment in, do the right thing, and even got backing and understanding from the Republican side of it. A guy that's a Republican, he looked at it and he's like, well, wait a minute, that's just not right. Yeah, we do it all the time. Yeah, and I think when you go on with the clip a little bit, I think Sam wants to speak. And
well, I'm trying to clear it up to the vote right now.
Yes.
So I'm listening to see where the vote comes. So
okay,
this is, we could wrap this up.
Yeah. So because
people got to watch the thing in its entirety.
It goes on and it's about an hour, 60 minutes of it. Just what people can do with 60 minutes and what people do with 60 minutes. At the end of the day, the city budget was passed, but it seems like there was a lot of cloudy areas there. It seems like there was a lot of things that maybe could have been talked about a little more and before they went and passed this budget. But I mean,
it's depressing.
Well,
it's sad.
I'll say this here because today is Tuesday. Councilwoman Oliver voted no on part of, I think it's the operating budget.
Okay.
So therefore, it did not pass. Now, several other people voted no also, but they did not have enough yay votes to pass it.
Okay.
So on today, if we could just go after the vote, you know what I mean?
Go to the page and look for the for the agenda.
Yeah, after the vote. But let's go to the
and
vote.
that's just regular city council page, right?
Yeah, right. Let's go to the vote.
Because this is crazy.
So we can wrap this
I
up
have 2 points before I vote.
Councilmember Gray.
You have to, we're finished with debate. Let's vote now.
Yes.
Councilmember Congo.
No.
Councilmember Oliver.
That's Councilwoman Oliver tapping the ink pen.
Councilmember Oliver.
Playing the drums.
Yes.
Are we going to?
Councilmember Harley.
Yes.
Councilmember Turner.
No.
Councilmember McCoy.
Present.
Councilmember Creel.
Yes.
Councilmember Adams.
Yes.
Councilmember Dixon.
Present.
Councilmember Guy.
No.
Councilmember Walsh.
Yes.
Council President Shabazz?
Yes.
7 yeas, 3 nays, 2 present, and 1 absent.
Declared adopted.
So the budget was adopted.
The budget was adopted.
Yo, she was tearing that pen up, dog.
You hear? She's playing the pen.
She was tapping.
She's tapping the whole time. But now the next vote, which is a few minutes later, Councilwoman Oliver, that's the one playing the drums, votes no on the operating budget. But I want to state that Sam Guy, Vash Turner, Congo all voted no also. Dixon and McCoy did the present thing, and Ciro voted with it. But also, did you notice something, brother? When Ciro voted, how was his voice?
Oh yeah, we were talking about
Defeated.
how Ciro kind of he gave out pertinent information, almost as to say, again, voting for something. It was his voice was soft to the point where he was like he kind of knew he was wrong about it. Like he knew it was wrong. He was like, but he still votes, I guess, across party lines.
Well, he has to vote with his party and his party's instructions. He's a Republican.
Yeah.
And the Democrats in charge are Republicans.
Yeah.
That's right. So,
Blue dogs.
So the gentrification has to go on at all.
Blue dog.
So where would I find that thing about the meeting tonight? Is it
Tonight,
on
it's
the
on
City
the
of
agenda.
Wilmington page?
On the city of Wilmington agenda for the night.
Yeah. So I wasn't a little clear about that. So at the end, they also voted on a finance budget.
They had an operating budget.
Operating budget. So operating budget meaning raises and people that workers
and people get paid right now.
That get paid in their paychecks.
Yes.
So the operating budget was basically voted down because there was more no votes.
There wasn't enough yes.
It wasn't enough yes votes to pass the operating budget.
Yeah, basically that's what it is. It's,
okay.
There's not enough yes votes. They don't care about the no votes. They just wanted to have enough yes votes, and one of their team members.
Okay, because Unc, you're saying that there's a meeting that's called tonight. You said
there's a special. As soon as Albert gets up,
I can't find it.
Can you go to City Council? Just go to City Council like we always do.
All right, citycouncil.com.
Yeah.
Man.
You go there.
Keep talking.
You go to City Council like we always did. Then go to the City events. And then from events, you go to, you'll see it on the event calendar for tonight. Now, what is interesting on the event calendar for tonight, several people voted no on also the operating budget.
Right.
But Councilwoman Oliver also voted no. But on the calendar of events, it had a special city council meeting just for her. Just for her to change her vote. No one else has to change their vote. Now, those other people that voted present or voted no, they're not interested in them changing their vote. Just Councilwoman Oliver. All right?
Wow.
Now, she's voted with them in every other situation. Now, if this don't show the threat that the city council president imposes upon her other members, I don't know what it does. Now, I hope Oliver can find this for you so everybody out there can see it.
Oh. So
when we come back there.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear. It'd be kind of interesting to hear when they go to talk about the
I'll be there tonight.
Okay.
It will be televised on Channel 22.
On Channel 22.
Yeah,
okay.
Tuesday night.
So everybody, shout out to Channel 22.
City council meeting.
City council meeting. Everything's on there for you to see.
Go pull the agenda up.
Wow.
Events calendar. Then. All right.
And to the right of me, our on the floor correspondent, Uncle D.
Well, we'll be at the meeting tonight. Pretty soon, hopefully, if we can keep podcasting, maybe we can get a little camera or something to take to these meetings ourselves.
Mr. Baker, we're coming to you. We'll be there.
In case they want to, shut this 22 down, we meant to take our own footage.
They can't shut 22 down.
I hope they don't.
That's big. You know what I mean? They can't.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
They gotta have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's public record. I know.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah. They can't do that. That would be too dirty.
They'll do anything.
Yeah.
Get to look at.
I got it up. I just can't punch it right now.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, it does say special meeting.
You said,
May 21st, 5 p.m.
A special meeting, May 21st, 5 p.m. Council's chambers. Yeah, there is no meeting.
Did you hit the agenda?
Yeah, I'm on the agenda.
It came up. Special meeting had had her name Samantha Oliver on it.
Oh.
Yeah, they must have took her name off.
Okay.
Yeah, it just says special city council meeting.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, tonight with 5 o'clock, man. City council. That's where it's at. Like, go down there and see.
If not, tune in. And
if it's to
listen
get, did she say she wanted the meeting to change her vote, or did they tell her she had to have a meeting to change her vote?
Special meeting for her to change her vote. Yes. Didn't say everybody else had to change.
So that wasn't her idea. That was their idea.
No, that's Hanifa.
And again, our on the floor correspondent, Uncle D,
will be
with
there.
his perspective.
But
let's see. This is interesting. Let's see what happens.
She has to change her vote. No one else does. But here's my question: suppose somebody now want to change their vote to no.
That's even better, but that won't happen.
Voted yes before.
Oh.
I mean, the rules they have here, like taking that amending a part and putting the part back in or not.
Yeah.
They seem to vary with the situation.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But if you got so many questions, why vote for it?
Yeah. Well, that goes back to your
people. The present vote is the present vote is useless. Let's just get that plain and simple for the people. Check channel 22 and anything that your representative vote present on, get at them.
Yeah. I think we'll wrap it up with that.
We're going to wrap it up.
And Civic Duty, again, thanks for everybody that's checking it out, listening and watching, man. Again, you can do this yourself.
Y'all want to do this again on Friday, man? Because it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
we'll
definitely.
We didn't touch on connections.
Oh,
we didn't talk on. We still going to touch on channel 28,
and we have to check. We got to get on channel 28 and that footage we have.
Yeah, because we got a whole lot of past and present managers from Comcast time, so Comcast could tell you how it was.
Oh, so it sounds like you got some things lined up.
Oh, it's some things lined up.
Okay. All right. Well, Civic Duty, y'all. Thanks for watching, and we appreciate y'all. Thank you.
I'm out of here.